Today on the podcast, I'm chatting with the Calgary Alberta metalcore group Gutter King. This Canadian quartet has an awesome, ever-evolving sound. Tune in to hear us talk about the magnitude of metalcore, their new track, the impact of metal live, the best time to visit Canada, and more. Welcome to the Eat, Sleep, Breathe Music podcast, where we talk all things music. I'm your host, Jeanette Kimsel, blogger and music enthusiast. Let's get started with today's episode. Welcome to the Eat, Sleep, Breathe Music podcast. I'm your host, Jeanette Kimsel. I'm here with Gutter King. So if you guys want to introduce yourself, go right ahead.
Yes, I'm Bert.
Fair enough. Hey, you go ahead. Go ahead.
I'm Bert. I do vocals.
I'm Seth. I play guitar and do vocals as well.
I'm Alan. I play guitar.
I'm Grant, and I play drums.
Great. Well, it's so good to meet you guys and see your faces. Thank you so much for coming on. I'm really excited to chat with you. And I feel like I don't know where to look. I'm like, there's so many of you. I'm like, let me just look everywhere. Anyway, so yeah, we'll just get right into it. So do you want to just tell us a little bit about yourself for people who may not know who you are and how you guys all came together? I don't know.
Yeah.
So
you take this one. You got it.
I'll take it. Okay. I mean, we are a metalcore band from Calgary, Alberta, Canada. We all kind of met when we were pretty young. Bertie and I, for example, met when we were very grade 7 or something like that, and sort of met Alan in high school, and then we all got together and sort of joined the band, and then we found Grant sort of off playing gigs with some other band, and we were kind of like, hey, this guy's a pretty good drummer, man. We kind of want to steal him, so kind of made that happen. And yeah, that's sort of the little origin story there.
Nice. Awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. So so I know you guys are kind of more of a metalcore band. I'm not so familiar with metal. I guess a lot of my music tastes, I mean, I like everything, but a lot of things go towards more the pop punk and thing. But then I was actually reading, so I've been doing some research before I got on the call with you guys, and there was a study I found that it's a little old. It's from 2015, but it was saying that metal fans are the most loyal listeners, I guess. It was a Spotify, I guess, study. And then it was saying in 2018, there were stats saying it was the biggest growing, bigger than pop music. And I was just curious what you guys thought about that. And if what you would what you think draws people into metal and, kind of all that.
That makes sense to me, because I feel like if you find yourself liking this weird, wacky, crazy music with people screaming, and you find other people that like it too, you kind of feel like you want to stick with those people. Because if it's if anyone else has had an experience like me growing up in a small town, there's not many people that like this kind of stuff. But I liked it, so I stayed loyal to it. And then once I found people that also liked it, I feel like there's a weird connection that we all share. We all like this kind of weird thing.
Yeah,
so that
definitely
makes sense to me. Yeah.
No, that's awesome. Yeah, I my husband's kind of really into metal, and I'll go to shows with him that I'm not I'm always oh, okay, and then he'll go to my shows, and we actually went to a metal show a week ago, and I was I think I can really get into this, because like you were saying, there's just something about the crowd was so just cool and happy, and they, even though they were getting all their aggression out, it was just very meditative or something,
Yeah,
sort of thing.
You have to see it live. I have a lot of friends who they don't listen to metal at all, but then they come to our shows, and as soon as they see it live, they have a better understanding of what's going on. And they see the energy and why people are into it. Yeah, so I think for a lot of people, sonically, it doesn't make sense, but then when they see the performance, it kind of comes together for them.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I feel like that's even, I was saying that to my husband, and he was saying also you need good speakers, I guess,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Because if you don't have good speakers, it doesn't sound as good.
Yeah, a lot of noise.
Yeah, I know. I think I need better speakers. So yeah, so you guys, I know, have a very DIY ethic. So what's your favorite part of the music making process?
My favorite part is just getting in that zone where it's you don't know what's gonna happen. You're we're in the room together, and we don't know, we have no plan for what we're gonna make, and then one idea happens, another idea happens, and they sort of come together, and everything sort of starts snowballing, and then you end up with a song at the end of the day, which I think is really cool.
Yeah, it
And
feels
like sorry, Bert, you go for it.
I was gonna say it feels kind of like unintentional when the song comes together. Like we often, like Seth said, we go in very unprepared, and sometimes that makes me nervous because I'm like, we have like this one window to put this song together and have it done, and oftentimes it's just, yeah, it just comes together in the spur of the moment. It's totally spontaneous.
Hmm. I like for at least for us, like when we are together in a room writing, there's like no wrong answers. You know, we've kind of
Hmm.
just ego aside. We're just like everyone. If you got an idea, let's put it out there, and if it's good, it's good. If it's not good, and it doesn't make it, I really enjoy that part of like the process. It's like there's no judgment. There's no wrong answers.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And I
I
do
think
also want to
Agreed.
say, oh, sorry, go Grant, go.
it's just like you know, even with music and like music videos, like I think just like sitting back after everything, it's like we put so much time, effort, and money into making all this stuff, and like sitting back to just look at it and listen to it and be like, wow, like we did this. This is cool. So
Mhm.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's something really awesome about being like a, a content creator or a music creator. Like it's amazing to go from like having nothing to having this like finished product at the end. And it's just, I don't know, there's just,
Absolutely.
it's satisfying.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
definitely,
Yeah.
definitely. Okay. So I grew up in the 90s and the music genres seemed to be very distinct. There was like very separate, like rap, rock, electronica, there was like some new metal, which kind of combined some things, but it seems like these days, a lot of artists are kind of like splicing together all these different types of genres from like rock, electronica, screamo, more. And like, has this always kind of been the case with metalcore? And again, I don't really know a lot about metal, so I was curious if like this is something that's kind of typical in the metal genre, or like is this something that you guys are doing, and or just it seems like in general like music's very merging these days, which is pretty cool.
Yeah,
I mean,
I
it's
can't speak for all metal, but I would say for metalcore, I feel sorry, Bert, I totally interrupted you, but I was
that's
just like,
fine.
I do feel like for metalcore in general, I think it's always been a bit of a mashup. It's gone through phases for sure, but like you can look back to like 2008 or 2009 when like bands like Attack Attack were doing weird things with synths and electronics and like mixing guitars and things like that. And then like to now with like Bring Me the Horizon and Bad Omens, I feel like yeah, they're just metalcore's always sort of been mixing like pop and rock and rap and hip hop and everything sort of together, which I think is really cool.
Yeah, it's weird. Like the '90s, early 2000s sounds like almost back too. There's a lot of
Yeah,
bands that like bring back like the new metal s sound these days, which is kind of cool. It's kind of full cycle. So
Yeah, it's very cyclical.
yeah.
yeah,
It's interesting how music kind of does that sometimes. I don't know. I feel like I've been listening to a lot of stuff and like everything just kind of seems like it's merged. And I think it's cool because in a way it also kind of opens up an audience, like for someone who may not necessarily like think about like listening to metal, but then they're like, oh, especially with like the song you guys just put out last in March, I feel like that had a lot of elements that would definitely kind of invite different listeners into like the mix.
totally.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Hmm.
And that was definitely our intention too. It's just like how can we like yeah, like take these pop elements that like you don't normally hear in like a metal song and like just put that in there and see what happens.
Hmm. I think it's kind of gotten to a point where like, if your genre is metalcore, it's almost like not descriptive enough. Like it's such a
Hmm.
broad umbrella term for so many bands to technically fit it. It's like you almost need like metalcore, comma, and then something else to
Yeah.
like specify what kind of band you are because there's so many elements from like so many genres that are like brought in together. Which yeah, it's sick. I'm all for it.
Yeah, I feel like such an idiot because like I don't really know much about. I probably should have looked more up about like what metalcore was, but I'm just like, you know, it's interesting to me because like I remember at one point I did a review of another band. They were like a metal band, but like again they had another subset of metal, and it's like it's just interesting how many subsets of like metal music there are. Like it's like wow, there's so much different stuff going on in the
Yeah.
genre.
Hmm.
It's
Yeah,
always
really cool.
awkward when people ask us like what type of music we play, and it's like heavy, like I don't know. It's such a umbrella term that really,
Yeah.
if you're a normie, you don't really know.
Yeah, they're like, oh, metal, like Iron Maiden, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Nah,
kind of.
not
Wait.
quite.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's funny because you think about metal, you think about like I don't know if Kiss would be considered metal, but like like those types of bands like Iron Maiden and all these things. And I was actually looking up some stuff about and I was curious too about like just for you guys being from Canada, it seems like there's a lot more metal. I mean, there's a lot of metal coming out of the US, but also like it seems like just lately, I think it's also on my mind because we went to see Spirit Box like last weekend, and like they're from Canada, you guys are from Canada, so I'm always like, is there more metal coming out of Canada, or is it just coincidental that like all these bands are coming up at the same time?
I think like there's always been a lot coming out from here. It's just Canada's kind of disconnected from the States in a way. Like we're so spread out, and like our population is not nearly as much as you. But I think just like our stuff to get down to the States, like it takes a lot. So there is actually a lot of great bands from here. It's just I feel like you have to
hidden
reach a
gems.
certain threshold before they get past the border. It's weird.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I think you also have to kind of seek it out because like if you I mean now with the internet it's a lot better like with streaming and everything. I think you can find a lot more bands that are like maybe you wouldn't necessarily hear on the radio or something, but it's still I feel like there is and I keep talking about my husband because he's really into metal, but like he always complains about how like like this especially here like we're so into pop music and nothing not that there's anything wrong with that, but it's just like he always looks at like European countries and seeing like, it would be so much cooler if like we could just embrace metal like the way they do in Europe and stuff.
Yeah, those huge
Yeah.
festivals.
Yeah.
I think also just like touring for us to go to the States like costs a lot of money, costs a lot of time. But like in Europe, like you go across borders like it's nothing, and like there's a lot of bands touring constantly there. So like it spreads a lot quicker that way too.
Yeah. Yeah. So speaking of tour, are you guys doing any tours? I was looking at your website and I didn't see anything that was like specific to this year. So do you guys have like any tours coming up since you are doing music? Do you want to go out and promote it and stuff?
Yeah, we're
we're
currently.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say we're currently like in the process of booking a couple. Kind of like what Grant said with the last answer. Like we're really spread out, so like a tour for us, kind of looking like a couple dates in Alberta and a couple dates in the province over in BC. And to achieve all that is like tens and tens of hours of driving. So you got a small Western Canada thing that's going to be coming. We're going to be announcing sometime soon. That'll be taking place over the summer.
Oh, that's cool. Would you ever want to tour in the States if you could? Do you have any like
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
If there's any
bucket
bands
list?
listening that wants to take us out,
What would you say?
DMs, we're here. Let us know.
Yeah. Any bucket list places you'd want to play in the States?
Like New York for sure. New York and LA. I feel like those are the two big spots that, which is weird because they're on the opposite sides of the country, but I feel like those are big entertainment hubs. So
I live have you guys ever heard of Asbury Park? It's kind of where like Bruce Springsteen's from. So
Yeah. Is that
say.
New Jersey?
Yep, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I would love to play there. I mean, honestly, for us, it would be like a huge achievement just to like make it south of the border. So we'll play Billings, Montana, given the opportunity. Let's go.
yeah, that'd be awesome. I'd definitely love to come see you guys play. I'd also love, I've never been to Canada, but it seems like a cool place and like there's a lot of stuff to see out there.
yeah, just don't come from like October to April because you'll freeze. You'll turn to ice.
No, definitely.
Small
I know.
window to avoid.
Especially I have a problem with the cold weather. I always get like made fun of because I'm always cold all the time.
It's great in the summer, but the winter is brutal.
Yeah.
Painful.
Definitely. So yeah, I guess just going back to I know you guys had like I think it was like 2020, your release of Feather, that kind of brought in like these pop elements. So what actually inspired you guys to like shift into kind of doing more like pop music stuff in your music?
I think it was just like we did our first EP, which was the Beyond Grief EP, which was very like down the line metalcore. Like, not that that's a bad thing at all, but that's like what it was. And like from that point, I was sort of like, yeah, we did that. Like we did that thing. Like let's do something else. So for me, it's always just trying to do something that we haven't done yet. And I think that's sort of where that came from with Feather. And now we're just sort of doing that again with Blood Rush. And and what's to come. So yeah.
And then just going into, oh, did anybody else have anything to add to that? Sorry, I don't want to jump.
No, he nailed it.
Okay. I know. I have a problem where I'm like, oh, something. But so just going back to like talking about your new music, I saw that you guys have a teaser out. And so is there anything you guys can say about that? That comes out like next week, right? May 17th.
Yeah.
The teaser for
It's all in your head.
Oh yeah, okay, it's all in your head. Sorry about that. But yeah, so I saw the teaser and it like looks really intense. So it seems like it's kind of a departure from Blood Rush, would you say? So can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, I'll say one more thing. I'll let someone else talk, but I do have one thing to say. I do want to say like it does live in like the same world as Blood Rush, sort of like sonically, like they are connected in a way and thematically also, but this one takes like a much like darker, like more intense, like route. Like the whole song is basically sort of about fear and like what scares you. So yeah, kind of scary, but
Yeah, I think even going with Steph with your last answer, like trying new things, like we did the metalcore thing, like the straight up regular metalcore. Blood Rush is obviously like super weird in of itself. It's all in your head. It's our first time. We're messing with drop F. We're getting real low using those artificial down tuners on our amps. This is like another angle, like Seth, I know you like had that idea and like put it in the Dropbox, and the first time I heard it, it was like, man, like you go buy an 8-string guitar, like what is going on here? So it's definitely inherently heavier due to that, but like this is definitely the heavy song that we are going to put out too.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I could
absolutely.
see. Oh, sorry. Again.
No, sorry, I was just agreeing with him.
No, I was just gonna say, just going back to that song, I think it's because it is such a small clip. Because I was like, I kept playing it over because I'm like, wait, I'm trying to get something from it, but then I'm like, I gotta keep playing it because it is such a short little blip. And I was like, I could see how you're saying, like, it still has the Blood Rush elements because this is just one part of the song. So it's kind of probably, it makes sense that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely gels. It's different, but it'll fit in the broader picture.
We hope anyway. That's what we think.
Well, it's good because like honestly, like you were saying, like seeing what you can do and what else you can bring to the table, it makes the music kind of more interesting, like sometimes people complain about bands just putting out the same album after time after time after time. So it's nice to like hear bands experimenting with different sounds and seeing things. I didn't really have there's so many bands, I feel like I can't keep up with them, but I hadn't really heard of you guys until I had gotten, found out about you. And so I went back and I was kind of trying to listen to different things. And I was like, it is kind of cool how they do have like an ever evolving sound and they're just kind of like experimenting with different things. And so I think, you guys are on, like, I agree with, it's a great idea. I don't know.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, that's very kind.
So
yeah,
but anyway,
that's
going
totally what we
sorry, go.
Zoom latency. Sorry, I was just gonna say, that's totally what like my philosophy and our philosophy really is like I just don't ever want to do the same thing twice. I don't want to put out a song that's like, oh, that's like just like that other song they did, and then it sort of just gets sort of boring. So yeah,
they say variety is the spice of life, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
I really love how social you guys are online. Like I always say I'm really bad at social media, but I always appreciate like other people who are doing a lot of like stuff on social. So, and it just seems like it's integral to like promotion these days. So do you feel like, like there's a platform that you like the best? Do you like doing it? Like, how do you feel like I think you guys, like, it looks like you're having a lot of fun when you do the social stuff.
We do have fun.
Guys, we're doing it. It looks like we're having fun. I think we probably, Instagram just seems like the center of the content universe for us anyway. TikTok, we're trying to get better at. We're trying to like, get used to like trends and getting our faces and our voices like in front of the camera. Where it's not just music video, we actually have to like speak. Everything that ends up getting posted is like one clip out of like an hour and a half of us just taking turns, like looking at like, hey, what are we supposed to say? And then trying it and someone will say something stupid. You have to restart the whole thing. Um, but we're trying to get better at that. Um, but I think yeah, Instagram is definitely the funnest place because we don't have to only do that. We could put some photos in there, which I like to do as a photographer and being kind of the visual director. That sounds insane to call myself, but everything that's posted is something that I've edited. So
Agreed. Yeah, I got that.
I
No, I think it's definitely social media can be like there's a little bit of a learning curve to it sometimes, I think. And but I liked what you guys are doing. I thought you were fun. Like I like the TikTok. I like the stuff that you guys and I also saw that fans were like tagging you. So that's awesome. So you're getting, other people are sharing your music and stuff. So that's neat.
Yeah. Yeah,
that's
that
the
was
hope.
very cool. Yeah.
Oh, awesome.
We just need a nice viral moment. We need some people to make some cool transitions for us. So if we're watching this, head to TikTok, open up the app, look up Blood Rush, make something cool, and do our jobs for us.
Yeah,
Thanks.
that's right. Oh, another thing, I don't know if you guys ever thought of this, but a lot of people have been saying like using AI is helpful to like come up with like tags and stuff for like social media. I don't know if that's anything to think about. I use it a lot for like posting things. I found it's pretty helpful to just when I'm like
Yeah.
not really sure what to write or say, I'm like, oh, let's ask AI.
I'm yet to dive into that. I tried using ChatGPT, but you have to like make an account and you have to put your phone number in, and it didn't
too
like
many
my phone
steps.
number, and
Oh,
I just gave up. I was like, okay,
yeah.
never mind.
Too much barrier for entry, right? It's like, yeah.
Yeah.
I know you guys have a lot of like videos and it's a really great way to tell your story. So I was just curious like how you guys come up with like the ideas for the different videos. And I also thought that like the feather video had a really cool juxtaposition where like there's like this calming waterfall and then there's like the screaming lyrics. And I was wondering like, if it's intentional where you put the certain like scenes to go with like the certain lyrics and like what the whole process with that was.
Yeah, the video for Feather, I don't know if I remember exactly like how we landed on that. I'm sure part of the equation to like us getting to that idea was like, what can we do that's cool and free? And I something must have inspired us to like go down that route, but we just like planned a day, went out to Banff, went on like this little hike. I brought my camera and a gimbal, and we just like shot as much as we could. So really like the choices of like what words were coming up during what shot was kind of just my random decision when I was editing it. So I wish we had like a deeper answer for that, but it's just kind of like what we thought looked cool.
No, that's so cool. That's okay. I don't know. Maybe I'm thinking too much into it. Maybe I'm digging deep. I don't know.
That's good. No, I like that. If it looks like maybe there's something deeper, let's just say definitely something deeper is going on.
I like it. And then just going into like when you guys write songs, do you pick like what part is going to be like the guttural screaming part? Is that like a process?
I guess it just depends on the song. Sometimes we have a better understanding what the structure is going to look like. A lot of the songs, I mean, we'll have a general idea of the structure, but we also do it kind of part by part. There have been some songs where we decided to do singing over it instead of screaming, and that was kind of just a spur of the moment decision. It really just goes by whatever the song calls for in the moment.
Nice.
Yeah, totally. I thought I had something to add, but I really don't.
I think
Yeah,
it comes as we write. I don't think we have
Yeah.
a necessarily like a game plan, like okay, like this next song we're gonna do should start with singing and then come with screaming. I think it's just like, yeah, like what Bert said, whatever the part needs, is what we'll put down.
Cool. I saw you did like an acoustic track, acoustic version of a Feather. Where did that idea come from? And do you guys think you're going to do more acoustic stuff in the future?
Yes, I think we definitely will do more. I think we're probably gonna do like an acoustic song for like every new song. I hope at least. But like the Feather acoustic idea, it's kind of funny. That one like started out as like I was gonna do like a Feather reimagined, which was like the very first draft of it was like this weird like electronic drum beat with like these like pop synths, and like it was like there was something there and it was kind of cool, but it was also like, what the hell's going on here? So eventually it was like, you know what, let's just like chill out for a minute here and like just put an acoustic guitar down and see what happens there. And it ended up being like way better. So yeah, it's just kind of
We
funny
should
that it
leak the
started
old
out like,
version.
yeah, we should. We should. But yeah, it totally didn't start out as like an intention to do an acoustic song, but then it sort of became that. And then we were like, damn, this is cool.
Nice. Well, I'm looking forward to hearing more acoustic. I like acoustic music, but I like the
Oh, yeah.
screaming too, but I'm like, yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe we combine the two.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Screaming acoustic.
That would be definitely interesting. So we're almost it's almost like 30 minutes, so I'll just kind of wrap things up. I don't want to take up too much of your time. But yeah, so Eat Sleep Breathe Music is all about finding like new music. So what kind of stuff are you guys listening to? Any cool bands on your playlist that we should check out?
My mind always goes blank when people ask. I have to look at my
Yeah.
phone.
I already got some, man. Come on.
Okay, let's
the
hear it,
band,
Seth.
all right, okay. I got my Apple Music open. I don't know. The band Camino is a band I really like, and they're releasing a few new songs, which are very cool. Beartooth, Sunshine, cool song.
Hmm.
Louis Capaldi, always amazing. I'll give one more. Okay, it's kind of random, but this band called 3 Days Grace from like way back in Canada. Yeah. I downloaded their album 1X, like from 2006. And I'm like, this is so sick. Like I've been listening to that like nonstop.
I don't know, there's a lot of like I guess Canadian bands coming up. Like there's a band from Kelowna, good friends of ours called Stasis. They're releasing some music soon, so they got 2 singles out right now that are really good. So I'm stoked to see what their new record sounds like.
Nice.
But, yeah.
So do you guys have anything else? Any other last words you want to say or anything? Where can people find you? Find more about? I'm like, I can't speak. Sorry. I'm like, where can people find more about you?
You can find us on all platforms at Gutter King Band, Gutter King on whatever streaming platform you want. We got a new song, It's All in Your Head, coming out May 17th. I don't know when this one's going to come out, but whenever you're listening to this, our last song, Blood Rush, that we talked about, is out everywhere. Search it up on YouTube. We got a music video for that too. So whoever's listening to this, you've got like 2 or 3 hours of research to do on us, and I expect everyone to be doing that. Yeah, follow us on, like every one of our photos. You got lots to do. You got lots to dive into.
And they have a lot of music to listen to too. You guys have a nice catalog of music.
You know what?
A lot of catching up to do
soon. Yeah.
Right. Well, thank you so much. This was so much fun. I really appreciate you guys coming on and chatting.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And I look forward to hearing the new song. Just a couple days, right? I'm like
1 week. 1 week.
Yes, May 17th. All right. Well, thank you again.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Nice meeting you. Have a good night. For more information on Gutter King, you can check out their official website, www.gutterkingband.com. That is GUTTERKINGBAND.com. You can also like and follow them on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter at the handle Gutter King Band. That is GUTTRKINGBAND. I will also leave links to these in the show notes for your convenience. If you're looking for more new music, be sure to subscribe to our podcast so you get the latest updates on our artist features. You will also find more music features on our website at www.eatsleepbreathemusic.com. That is EATSLEEPBREATHEMUSIC.com. Thanks for listening and see you in the next episode. Thanks so much for listening to the Eat, Sleep, Breathe Music podcast. To find new music and learn more about what we do, you can check out our website at www.eatsleepbreathemusic.com.